It's been a rough couple of months. Not just for me, but for a lot of people. I talk to you on the streams, I talk to you on social media, and yeah, I keep hearing it over and over and over again that we're having trouble. And I really feel that. Like, I know what my issues are, and I know what a lot of yours are. But the thing is, I do know that we can get through it. We can get to the other side and get to that dream. That dream of a vibrant and real story world for our characters to live in, for our readers to explore, and for our hearts to go wild. So let's talk about the trials and triumphs on this episode of Project Shadow.
Can you hear me? I have something to say.
Hello, my cheerleaders. How are you doing? My name is Charlie, your non-binary they, she creature of habit that does this podcast and who writes all manner of strange stories. How's everybody doing today? I hope you are doing well. I've been struggling lately. I think it's been rather obvious for anybody who has been attending the live streams. I think you can see it in my eyes. I think you can read it in my body language. It's been hard. My depression is acting up again, and of course, you know how much I love that. I've also been feeling a lot of stress related to getting work out. I have one work with an editor right now because I could afford to have one work with an editor. And so I have that going right now. And I have one work that I am editing myself. Actually, I have two, but I haven't really announced the other one yet. And so it's been a lot of work between the drafting, the editing, everything. And then you add the depression on top of that, and it just feels like it's a never-ending struggle to get anything done. A never-ending struggle to push forward, to just dory my way through it, to just keep swimming. And then you add on to that, it's now world-building summer camp, and my brain just isn't turning on. The work is going slow, and it's not just for me, it's for y'all too. I can see it in the chat when y'all are talking about the troubles that you're having, the trials and tribulations of being a writer in the world right now. And it's something that I think that we need to address face on. Because the problems that we're having are the problems that we will continue to have. And I don't want to say that as some kind of nihilistic acceptance of how terrible and hard the world is. No, I mean that in a very straightforward sort of a way. The world is messed up. The world has always been messed up, and it always will be messed up. The real question is, how are we going to respond to that? How are we going to push our way through? That's the real question now, isn't it? And so, as we're struggling, we have to ask ourselves exactly what kind of a world do we want to live in? Personally, I want to live in a world that respects the creator. I want us to have a vibrant and powerful creator economy because I think that is honestly the only way we are going to get into the 21st century in a way that has any sort of sustainability for us as a people. But there's a lot of pushback on that because what we do is not seen by a lot of people as real work, though one really does wonder what they would do if we weren't here. Where would they get their entertainment from? But of course, they don't think that far ahead. So, yeah, hopefully in this episode, I will address some of the issues that you're going through. I'm going to, as usual, speak from my own experience because I know that best. Now, I say this all the time, but the first thing and the most important thing that we have to answer for ourselves at all times is, what is the dream? What is it that you're going for? And I mean this on several different levels, because of course, a lot of you, like me, have the super high level dream of the 5 seasons in a movie. I would love to have an MMO based on one of my works and one of my settings. I think that would be amazing. Those are all like super big dreams. But beyond that, what part of those dreams am I capable of producing? That's the question that we need to be asking ourselves right now during these hard times. Because I cannot create an MMO. I cannot guarantee that I will get a streaming series or a movie or anything like that. I can take various steps to move in that direction, but I cannot guarantee any of those things. What can I guarantee? What tangible dream should and can I be working towards? Now, this can be as simple as publication. And for a lot of us, that's what the goal is. It's just getting the story out, getting it out there for readers to have, to hold, to enjoy, and hopefully to love and become great fans of. I, because I'm me, have a couple other layers on top of that. I not only want to get to publication, where I want the stories to be coming out, but I want that video game. I want that video game so bad. I can't make that video game, but I can make a Cypher game. So that's what I'm doing. I am making a tabletop role-playing game as a companion to the game that I am already making. I mean, to the world I am already making. That's a lot of work. And it's work that I enjoy. It's work that I have fun with, because you know what? I create a lot of custom content for the tabletop role-playing games that I play anyways. So the idea that I would take that time, energy, and effort and actually expend it in making my worlds into a reality, into making my stories into something that other people can play in, that just makes sense. That just works in a way that is important to me. And so I have my goals set. I have my characters that I want to craft. I have my various elements of the setting that I know that I need to get made. I have the stories that I need to tell so people get excited about the world and want to actually play and participate in it. These are the things that I can do. And that's where you need to be breaking down your dream. Because for those of us that have really big dreams, it's important, if we're going to stay on track, to break those down into small, achievable goals. What are the things that I am capable of doing? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that every day. Because it may be nothing. There are days when I get up and just getting into my office and sitting down in front of my laptop and maybe getting 10 words is an achievement that I need to let myself be proud of, because those words were hard fought between the pain in my joints or the depression or whatever it may be. Those words are golden because I was able to catch them and write them down. And so that's where you need to be setting your own goals. And don't set them based on what other people's goals are. When I can get myself well rested and feeling well in mind and body, yeah, I can write 3,600 words in a day, no problem. And that may be you. You may be able to write 3,600 words in a day. You may be able to write 5,000. You may be able to do 10K days every day without burnout. And if you can, that's great. That's wonderful. But if you're not that person, don't set your goals that high. You're just sabotaging yourself. I like to set my goals low. And then when I consistently beat them, well, I move the goalpost up. And then again and again and again, rinse and repeat until I get to a place where the goal is a stretch. It's not easy to get to, but it's not impossible. Because the more impossible goals we set for ourselves, the more defeated we will feel by them, and the more counterproductive they become. So what are the obstacles keeping us from achieving our goals? Well, let's be honest, because if we're going to do this at all, we have to be honest with ourselves and with others. The first primary goal that each of us is facing is financial, right? The economy got hit hard by an inept administration who didn't know what they were doing, that then got hit by a global pandemic that made things worse because they were inept and didn't know what they were doing. And to this day, they're not willing to help out the average person, instead focusing on the corporations and keeping them afloat. Now, this one, I wish I had the magic wand that I could just say, hey, wave this over it and it'll be all better. Just do this, say this, do this thing, and it'll be all better. But that is a very individual thing for each and every one of us, depending on the region we're in, because at least here in the United States, state by state, the various governors and local administrations are doing different things. But look around, there may actually be some resources there. So most of us are actually writing when we have time. Most of us are working towards our actual dreams only when we have time. And that can be influenced also by the fact that some of us have families and are working in between our job, our dream, and time with the family. And that can be difficult. That can be hard. And you need to acknowledge that. Just acknowledge that. Don't take it into the point where it becomes suffering. That's something that's not good for us, and we need to stop doing that. But hold it close and realize it's okay. That it's a problem we will eventually find a way through, but it's okay to have that problem. You see, so many of our obstacles become obstacles when we start bringing words like I do not deserve, or I do deserve, or those kinds of moral judgments into them. Just because the economy is bad does not make you immoral. It does not say anything about you if it's hard to find a job right now. It's hard to find a job right now, no matter who you are. So don't give in to that wave of judgment. For others like myself who are suffering from chronic illness or disability, bad joints, bad back, bad mental health, we need to just accept that as part of who we are. Now, that doesn't mean we don't work towards getting better. We don't do our meditations. We don't do our therapy. We don't take our medicines. No. We do all of that. But again, acceptance does not mean that you are saying that it is forever. Acceptance simply means acknowledging that it is. So we acknowledge the obstacles before us. My depression is very real. My anxiety is very real. And it is worse this time of year than any other time of year for so many reasons. And that's okay. It's not ideal. Because again, I think people get those two things confused. That when you're accepting something, you're saying that it's ideal. No, it's okay. It exists. It is. We're simply acknowledging the fact. The dysphoria rises and falls. The depression rises and falls. The anxiety rises and falls. The economy rises and falls. This is the way of things. And when we get into the nice cluster mess that we're currently in, a lot of us at least, it's important to just acknowledge that this is the way that it is and not give in to the ultimate enemy of all life. Not just our creativity, but all life. And that's this illusion, this fallacy that this is permanent, that it will always be this way. Things come and things go. Things rise and things fall. It will never be all good. It will never be all bad. There will be moments of everything. So don't give in to the temptation to believe that you are always going to be trapped in whatever it is that you feel is trapping you. We will get through this. Now comes the hard part of the podcast. Now comes the part that is most difficult for someone like me who wants to be honest with myself and with you. Because if I was a snake oil salesman like so many out there in the world, now is when I would give you the magic pill, the magic bullet, the magic phrase, just do this. Just do this and everything will be better. All of your problems will go away. The problem is, such claims are lies. They're there to either rob you of your free will or your money or just to take advantage of you in some way, shape, or form. Now, that doesn't mean that there is not a solution. There is. And that solution is we need to make a plan. And we need to start seeing our lives as they are. That's number one. That may be the most important thing that we can do. Is just be honest, and to be honest without judgment. To see our life as it is, warts and all, and just be okay that it is. Again, remember, when we say being okay with, we're not saying that you have to say, well, that's just the way it will always be. We're not giving into nihilism here. That's not what we're doing at all, in any way, shape, or form. What we are doing is telling ourselves, this is the truth. This is the situation we're in. This is the goal, the ideal place, state, achievement that we want to unlock. And then breaking that down into the elemental pieces that we are capable of achieving. Look, when my depression is strong, it's not easy for me to get into the studio and record. And that's why this podcast is coming out a day late. Because I really didn't feel like getting in here yesterday. And I apologize to you, but this is a thing for me that I needed to do. I needed to realize that I could not produce the kind of audio that I wanted for you all. I could not be as honest and direct as I wanted to be with you all if I forced myself to come in here and record this. And so I waited and I worked on me so that I would be ready to come in here and talk. And that's the honesty that you need to have with yourselves. It's very tempting to say, well, I have this time. It's the only time that I have to do this by and do this for and do this in. And so I am going to go in there and I'm going to push and push and push. But what if you break? Burnout is a real thing. So don't push so hard that you damage the thing that you love. Don't force yourself to get in there and get those words to the point where you resent the words. Because yeah, that can happen. You can get yourself to that place, and we really don't want that. We love our creativity. We love the work that we're trying to do. That's why we're here together. So we acknowledge where we are. We look at where we want to be, and we find those bite-sized pieces, those small pieces, those little things that we can do today, tomorrow, and the next day. And we make those schedules flexible. We make those goals flexible. Because the difference between a goal and a deadline is whether or not you're telling yourself you have to achieve it by a certain time. And I am not a fan of deadlines. They can be motivational for some people, but for other people, they are destructive and they get in and they hurt us from the inside out. And that is something that we should not abide. So now comes the time to look for your solution. What is the one thing that you can do to achieve your dream? Is it finish your manuscript? Is it edit your manuscript? Is it to outline it? Is it to draw that picture that you want to draw, to create that creature that you've always wanted to create? To give yourself permission to open your laptop, Whatever it is, it could be so small that it feels insignificant to you at the time. Write it out. What are those things? Figure out what they are, and then use them to give you the strength to move forward and achieve the goals that you want. Because now that we've started looking at what we can do, it's time to make our ultimate weapon. It's time to make a plan. Now I know that some of you wish this is the time where I could come in and tell you exactly what to do. And I wish I could. I really do, because I think it would be wonderful if there was a magic bullet here. And I know I keep saying that over and over and over again in this podcast, but there isn't. So what is my plan? So maybe that will help you. My plan is quite honest and simple. It's world building summer camp time, y'all. So I'm going to work towards my diamond badge. Will I get there? We'll see. See, I'm emotionally invested in that badge, but I'm also not. Because I know that when my mind gets like this, if I hold on too tightly, then I'm going to force myself to shut down. And that means I won't achieve my goal. When you're actually devising your plan, realize that how tightly you grip it can actually affect how well you achieve what's in it. So for me, when I say that if I hold on too tightly, that really is true. I have a tendency to just say, nope, I said I'm doing a thing, and force myself through to the point where I'm so tired and I'm so broken that I can't do anything else for months afterwards. That's not healthy. That's not good. And so I can't do that. You might be one of those people that can use that kind of stress to make a diamond. I don't make a diamond. I don't even make a cubic zirconia. I make dust and ash when I do that. So my goal is to work on my camp project, to work on my Vela projects, and to achieve what is possible for me to achieve. I know the worlds that I'm building. I know the stories that I'm wanting to tell, and I'm going to tell them to the best of my ability. And I hope that they are good. I hope that they bring joy to other people. And that's all I can do. I know the characters I'm talking about. I know the outlines that need to get done. I know a lot of the creatures and places and people that I need to create. Because my goal, my plan is, as it has always been, to create a vibrant story world filled with all the little things that I obsess about in other people's work, so that hopefully people will obsess about them in mine. My goal is to tell a story that is so engaging that people don't want it to end, because I don't want it to end. My plan is to let that intoxication wash over me and guide me through the process of creating the characters, of creating the world, of telling the stories, of making the outlines, of editing every word and polishing it towards that perfection that I want it to have. And knowing that the goal that I'm reaching for is one that I will not attain in this life, because none of us are perfect. But that doesn't keep me from striving towards it. I want to have that game playable by the middle of August. It doesn't have to be finished. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be playable. I want to be playing in players and teaching them how to do it and testing it by then. Is that an insane goal? It's not an easy goal. It's a goal that's going to be tricky and hard to hit, but it's a goal that I feel like I can achieve. It may be rudimentary. It may be not exactly everything that I want it to be, but it will exist. Little goals. Little goals. When I started out, I didn't know how to set goals. And when I read Lean Startup, it really did help. The idea of the MVP, the minimal viable product, the minimum viable product. What is the least thing that I can do to start testing this idea out? And for a game, that means that there needs to be playable species, there needs to be playable classes, there needs to be some monsters for them to go up against, and some maps for them to play on. That's it. I know what my minimum viable product is. I know what my MVP is to get that out there. This is also the thing that has excited me the most with Vela coming out. My MVP has changed from an entire freaking novel to a chapter. I just have to get my chapters done, chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter. And as I focus on that, I can stretch towards hitting my goal. The ball's now in your court. What are you up to? What are you working on? What are you doing? What are your plans? Because I've been fairly open with mine, and I'm not saying you have to be the same. I know a lot of us have made plans this month for Camp Nano or for World Building Summer Camp. And those are great. Those are fine. Those are wonderful. But those are outside goals that are being foisted upon us, with the exception of Camp Nano, because you get to make up your own. But still, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Work towards that greatness that I know that you have in you. Work towards that wonder that you want to inspire in others, that fear, whatever it is, depending on your genre, that thrill, that entertainment, that enjoyment. Because I know that we have it in us. And that's the thing that you have to just hold on to cling on to with every fiber of your being. Your dreams are yours, and they're valid, and they're magical, and you can achieve them if you put your mind to it. Just remember, you may not achieve them in the way that you wanted to or the way that you initially thought out. Always be open for change. When I first started doing all of this work years and years ago, over a decade ago, the idea that I would be doing streams on Twitch never came into my mind, because I don't even think Twitch was a thing back then. I mean, Justin TV was a thing when I started podcasting, but it just seemed so foreign and so strange and like something I would never do. And so the fact that I'm sitting here today talking to you on a podcast that's 15 years old, well, almost 15 years old, talking to you about my dreams as a writer while I'm making YouTube videos and streaming on Twitch, like, this is a world that I could never have imagined for myself, and a life that I could not have planned for. And so keep yourself open to those other opportunities. I never would have thought that I'd be putting music out like I've done here recently with my latest EP, Breaker of Chains. If you just search for Project Shadow Breaker of Chains, it should show up in whatever music app you listen to. But yeah, I let myself be open and follow my dreams, my heart, my goals, the things that I want from life. And I'm hunting those things down. Am I perfect? No, far from it. Are they everything that I wanted them to be? No. I really hoped that by now in my career I would be self-sustained and just like very comfortable as far as my financial standing goes, and I'm not there at all. But I'm better than I thought I would be. If you would have asked me 5-6 years ago where I thought I would be, the answer that you would have gotten would not have been here, because I was in a very dark place then. Because the darkness comes and the darkness goes. But as long as we push forward, as long as we strive against the darkness, we move forward. And that's where victory lies. So what are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your ambitions? Pull out some paper, pull out your phone, pull out your laptop, whatever it is, your tablet, write them down. Write them down to remind yourself what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, why you want to do it, what you want to accomplish. And stick to those things. And push forward as hard as you can. We'll get there. We will get there, and we will get there together. Thank you so much for listening. It really does mean the world to me. You can find links to all my things in the show notes, wherever they are in the app that you're listening to me on. And remember, we live in a nightmare hellscape that is not going to get any better if we don't actively work to make it better. So stand up and fight against Asian hate. Remind the idiots who do not believe the Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter, the Black Trans Lives Matter, and the trans identities are, magical. And until next time, may you have the courage to ride your dreams into reality. And don't forget to have the fun. Bye.